Everybody talking to John Newberry, the head coach at Central Arkansas for volleyball, and Emily Doss, who is the lone Arkansan on the team from Springdale, Arkansas, went to Harbor. And welcome. Good to see you both, and glad you all are doing well with the pandemic. But strange times, and
Yes.
we're all trying to get through it. But Coach, I've been asking all the other coaches too, when this sort of became a reality for you, and when you found out, things were going to be very different for us for the near future.
Yeah, so it was kind of late February, and we started kind of just preparing pretty quickly on what's going to happen. And the mind could only wonder so fast at what's going to happen. And honestly, as far as our mind could see things happening, they did within days, if not that week. And so next thing we knew, it's like, hey, I know we're a week out from spring break, and we actually had a tournament, or not a tournament, but a spring game scheduled with Arkansas State. And I was talking to the head coach, and he's like, Coach, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it. And I'm like, okay. So, and sure enough, the whole entire state was shut down just days after. The NCAA shut down the exact same day. I had a recruit coming to campus that day. I had to tell her to turn around and go back home. And she was halfway here between here and the place where she lives.
How about for you, Emily? When did you find out that this is real? And I'm assuming, we were all talking about it amongst our friends before things started really changing.
Well, we were actually at practice, and we were like, this isn't going to happen for Arkansas. Like, it was happening in Washington. We were like, it's never going to get here. That we're just dreaming about it, whatever. And then at practice, it all happened in one day. It was like we're all packing up and then leaving to go home, and no goodbyes, it was just kind of fun at first, but then we were like, wait, this is real. So, but yeah, I'm ready to get back to doing stuff in volleyball and a routine, especially because I'm a routine girl, and this has been way on my routine. I can tell you that.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It's been strange for everybody for sure. And I would say that is sort of the mistake of youth to say, oh, this won't be a big deal. But that's what I was saying. I was like, I'm going to get a good deal on a flight to Italy, and this is going to be great. I mean, this is no big deal.
Yeah.
I'm such an idiot, but that's not news, so that's good. So, Coach, what are the biggest changes for you since all this hit? What have you been doing that's been significantly different? I mean, other than just about everything, but I mean, what are the biggest changes for you?
Yeah, I know. So our team chemistry is really, really high, and so probably the biggest adjustment is just to make sure that everybody on the team is good with academics. So what we did, we split up our team, and each coach had a group of girls that they were, for the lack of better words, in charge of, just to make sure. Doss was one of my four, and of course nothing really changed, but if they needed something, then we did. So in one of the four from my group needed some tutoring, needed some extra academic help. And granted, she's here in Conway, staying in her apartment, but she wasn't allowed to go to campus, and things are shut down. And so trying to find those resources were probably the most difficult thing. But luckily, she ended the semester with one of their highest of 3.4, and she did really, really well. So that was probably the biggest challenge. Physically, it's like, can we mandate workouts? Can we get creative here? Like, how do we do this so that when everybody gets back, we're not going to be popping Achilles tendons or something like that just from coming down and back out of nowhere, especially when all the gyms are shut down. So, but the girls already had a great work ethic. And so us knowing that they had a great work ethic, I'm really, really confident that they'll be ready to go as soon as they get back.
Yeah, there's been so much transition. I mean, and so many different moving parts for you, taking over for Coach Jones Chapman as she steps aside. The programs, I want to talk a little bit about this too, with sort of a little autonomy now between volleyball and spring volleyball, and yet the sharing of athletes. And on top of all that, you and your wife are expecting a baby here in the near future. So, again, there's special concerns with the pandemic among us. So, I mean, you're dealing with a lot of stuff right now. I mean, it's been a wild year for you.
Yeah, so I'm in my baby room right now as we speak, and we have the crib next to me with my drink on top of it with my Chick-fil-A. But we're so I haven't been able to go to the baby appointments. That's not something that I was ready to do. So I've had to FaceTime for all these, which has been weird. I was able to go to the early ones, but not these later ones. My wife is laying on the couch right now sideways. Belly's nice and big. I think it just he just kicked her just a little bit ago before I was coming into the room to hang out with you guys. But so having that has been, honestly, this has kind of been a little bit of a blessing, because normally I would be practicing with the team and taking care of stuff day by day. And then on the weekends, I'm gone recruiting, and I like, see ya. I'll see you maybe Monday, if not Tuesday. So me being here it's kind of been a blessing for me personally, but it's also had its challenges, because I know every, I guess, ache and everything that's going on with her. I've experienced it with her together at the same time. So, because we're very close together all the time now.
Emily, how was finishing out the semester from distance with distance learning and the things you had to deal with there?
I kind of liked it, but I think everybody was all in the same boat, and everybody knew that, even the teachers. So they were kind of they were really helpful. They said, if you need anything, like, here's my number. You can have my number, not my email. Just kind of being really helpful in that area. But for me, for elementary education, we had done a lot of projects like already ahead of time in the semester. So ours were just smaller projects to end with. And yeah, but they were kind of it was kind of busy work, I feel like, at the end, just because the professors were just at awe of what was happening, and they have families too. So it was just everybody trying to collaborate together and work together at the end.
What's your academic study? What are you working towards?
Elementary education, K through 6.
Okay. I've been talking to a lot of amateur teachers lately who have taken over their kids' education from distance. So that's been interesting. Coach Brown, I think, is about over it. So that's not surprising. So tip of the cap to you. Good luck with that. But Coach, you got an interesting story and an interesting journey, and a lifelong Bear as a former punter there. And then, you know, the connection to volleyball is interesting. And now you and your wife are head coaches across town from one another. I mean, you guys should write a book or make a movie about it, but it's really, you've had an interesting journey. I mean, for people who aren't real familiar with your story, would you share a little bit about that? Because I think it's fascinating.
Yeah. So had a great career with UCA. My first year was with Clint Conk when he first got to UCA. Had a solid career with punting, and then I got to hold a little bit my senior year, which is fun. Got to do something extra. And then after that, I wanted to get into television and radio. So I did my internships and all that stuff with UCA, through UCA. Got into television production for about 8.5 years. Went all over the country to prisons to interview inmates and get their story of where things went wrong and how things are turning right for them now. And because of my father-in-law used to play for the NFL for the Oilers back in the day, Mike Barber's his name. We'd go to the Super Bowl, so I got to do a lot of interviews with Super Bowl guys as well. And just through all that, my wife started coaching some club volleyball kind of locally. I got involved. I just go just to do something different. I'd go get in the gym, and then it turned into arguments. I'm like, why don't you just let the most athletic person touch the ball? Like, I don't understand. Send it back over. They'll never. So it turned into arguments, and then she quit arguing with me and answering my questions. And so I turned to the UCA coaches, and just from that time, you know, with David McFatridge, he pulled me on, and literally overnight went from prison ministry, full-time television and everything, to volleyball. And the crazy story, not many people know about this, but the very first people that ever found out that I was going to be making that transition were the women on Texas death row. I was actually had breakfast with 4 of them, with me and Brittany, and I let them know before anybody else knew. And anyway, so it's a crazy story that I was just there to make them laugh, and I was supposed to be there for them, and they ended up kind of being there for me, because it was just going to be a big transition, and they're like, "You got this." And I'm like, it's a unique experience, but and then early on, I got to see Doss probably my first or second year at UCA, and that transitioned into her, and I get to spend this last season with her coming up, which is the craziest thing in the world.
Yeah.
So Emily, what's your plan for the summer? What are you doing right now and getting ready for fall?
Yeah. So finals were last week. I was just hanging out, finishing school. But right now, I'm kind of just hanging out. It's nice outside, so I've been doing some stuff outside. Being with my family a lot because that's pretty much all I can do.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess we don't know yet if we'll be there July or not, but I'm moving to Conway in a house in June. So I'll be in Conway in June. And then if we have practice and stuff, I'll be there in July. And then I'm actually taking a microbiology class for summer because I'm actually going to be going into nursing after I get my elementary ed degree.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, well, with all this going on, I mean, let's talk about that a little bit then. What's your mindset as somebody who's going to be in the future in the medical profession? This is a pretty eye-opening experience.
My mom has asked me the same question. She was like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And I was like, actually, for me, it's made me want to do it more. I don't know. I'm just a driven person, so I want to help people in that way. And especially with something like this, some people have to go to New York and help out, or like they really have to step up and do their job. So I don't know. I think I've come to love it more and want to do it more through all this stuff that's happening. So I'm excited.
That's amazing. Well, it's good to have people like you that are willing to do that, because obviously it's a tough time. And shout out to all the first responders. I know a lot of people have been talking about it, so it's a tough gig. I mean, and it's not, a lot of times people are jealous of people in the medical profession, but this is a pretty wide, kind of a awakening, I think, for most of us, how dangerous the job can be too.
Yeah, it can be.
So, Coach, again, the story is interesting, but as far as getting your team back together, what's your timetable? Have you been able to kind of put something together? And I imagine there's multiple dates that you're sort of shooting for, depending on how things play out.
Yeah, I know right now we're not going to be coming back for summer school. It's going to be optional, but all those classes are going to be online that we know of. If we can get them back and the NCAA allows it, then let's go. I've got plans for workouts to, I remember going through football, we had an acclimation period of getting our necks and everything used to the helmet, and then putting the pads on and, just the shells to get your body acclimated to the heat. And then also, of course, I didn't have to do a lot of hitting in college, but I can, at least imagine.
Yeah.
So we've got a little bit of an acclimation period like we normally do with the girls. Might just have to progress it a little bit more than we would. I don't know. I think that honestly, we're going to be back in August at this point, just based on just speculation. There's no hard evidence on that whatsoever. But
gotcha.
When they get back, I'd like for them to at least be able to be in somewhat shape where we can actually have 2 practices like we normally do. Just won't have to go as full out as we normally do, at least for the first week. And we'll just kind of see what goes. We've just kind of been rolling with everything that happens. These girls are resilient. Like I said, the team chemistry was so high, and honestly, that's probably the biggest caveat to this team to be able to be successful. All of the successful teams that we've had at UCA has always been because of the chemistry, always. And so knowing that and going forward, and knowing that we have experienced, upperclassmen is going to be a huge, huge bonus for us as well, to be able to walk in, do our thing, and hopefully not take this situation for granted. I'd like to be able to say to somebody else that's like, we're just excited to be here. We don't want to be excited to just be here. We want to beat the crap out of you while we can, take advantage of the situation that we're in right now. So I just want to have that championship mentality. I know that the girls will be on board once we explain all that.
So also, when you took over the job, and I think this is the first time this has happened, where the programs were split into, like I said, some autonomy there. How are you managing that? Because again, you're sharing athletes. I guess you've got to. I mean, they're obviously different sports, but how are you guys managing that between the 2 coaches?
Yeah, so Autumn Erickson and I share an office. We talk on the phone quite often, and she's got a lot of her own players. We were talking this morning about the program, and we already know what we're going to do for the 2020 class, and then it's kind of up in the air for maybe 1 or 2 of my players for the indoor on whether or not I kind of want them to go outside. So I haven't really crossed that bridge just yet. I feel as though if we have a successful indoor program and the key elements that it takes to be successful as their position, if they're able to contribute early enough, then I don't see why they can't go outside and help out with the beach also. But if we need to be able to kind of do both things at the same time, we might try and explore that option as well. But right now, we're only going to have one crossover for this next season, unless Doss might want to go out there and kind of beat the beach around too. So I know
Hey, that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, Doss will do anything to go to a beach. So, whatever.
Yes, even if it's in Arkansas, in Conway, Arkansas.
And most of us would. It's that's a tough. I mean, they're both hard in their own way, but beach is a unique thing.
Yeah.
Did you ever have any interest in that, as far as playing on the beach?
Well, when I first committed, Jones is like, you could do it like spring of your senior year. And I was like, oh, yeah. Now I'm like, I don't know if my body can handle that. I think it'd be fun, but now my body is like, I don't know. And it gets a lot colder in Arkansas than it does at the beach. So
that's true. If you're starting to break down already, that's a little concerning. But anyway, so Coach, you're from CrossFit. You like you're an outdoorsman too? Yeah,
I grew up, typical, just doing duck hunting stuff, getting out in the woods, riding four-wheelers, trying to ramp a truck, all those things.
Yeah.
Whatever we could do to get into trouble without going to jail. Kind of those kind of.
That's a good goal.
Just good old country boys. Just being outside, that was normal. So like the fact that I see kids in the street all the time, that was my life, except we were in the ditch, not
in mud.
Yeah, and mud.
Did you do any turkey hunting? Do you hunt turkey or anything else?
My most favorite hunting I've ever done is turkey hunting, but it was up in Nebraska of all things.
Okay.
A little bit of the hills close to Colorado. Most incredible thing I've ever done.
Emily, how about you? You hunt too, or just fish?
No, I hunt too. I haven't been turkey hunting, which I want to do, but I do deer hunt and duck hunt.
Okay, that's cool. I like it. Well, listen, good luck to you all getting back to campus, and obviously senior year coming up. It's exciting times, and you're the lone Arkansan on the roster. Is that right? I
am.
Do you have to do like culture training? Do you have to teach anybody about how we do things here?
So Raven, she came in my class with me, and she's from California. And so at first she was like, where am I? Why am I here? But now she's like, hey, I kind of like this whole Arkansas thing. I was like, turn on some country music. Come on, let's go. But
what do you listen to?
Mainly country.
Any artists that we're hot on right now?
Luke Combs, and then Carrie Underwood is my girl. I've loved her forever.
Of course.
And then I love some old George Strait and all the old country music, because now the country music is not how it used to be at all.
This is true. I call it tight jean country. Coach,
they're rapping and everything, and I'm like, this is not country.
That's wild times. Coach, do you do a lot of music in practice?
Oh yeah. We're not practicing unless the music's on. We actually bought a really, really nice Bluetooth speaker. We actually had to use that for a pregame warm up at one of the other schools in our conference because I don't know what happened. So it's loud. We bring it everywhere. But yeah, honestly,
who's deciding the music?
Yeah,
well, that's the thing. Some people like me, I'm like, come on, we got to play some country. We play rap every day at practice.
It depends on what the vibe is. If I have my passers, which would be our littles, as we call them, if it's Doss, we're playing country. If it's the whole entire team, we got to bring the toot up just a little bit. So, but I'm I've got a brand new TikTok playlist for all the.
Oh gosh,
so that's coming. I can't wait to get them in the gym. It's going to be epic.
But Tootsie Slide on repeat. Can't wait.
That and a lot of Savage.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. Well, good luck. I hope this all gets over quickly for y'all, and hopefully get to come hang out and catch some games this fall.
Can't wait. Thank you so much for having me.
Can't wait. Thank you.
Thank you all. All right.